Today, we are going to be talking about the latest update from RooCode and how to use it for free. Now, this is a completely different way of programming AI agents between coding, architecting, debugging. It will also help you save credits. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do all of this for free, step by step, so you can build apps, tools, games, websites, etc. using this new feature. Now, I've never seen anything like this come out from any other sort of coding program, for example, like Windsurf and other tools like that. Don't think you can do this. Now, this is a brand new feature, and essentially what it does is it's going to down any sort of task, whether that's building or coding an app, a tool, a website, etc. throughout the sort of process. Is going to break it down into separate tasks. All right, so let me show you an example. We got the legend himself, Vic, on the call today. Welcome, Vic.
Welcome to me as well. It's great to be here, Julian. Super excited. This is something super valuable for the people in the AI Profit Boardroom. They've been asking stuff about RooCode, so I think this is going to be an awesome addition, segmenting tasks and all that. Super fun.
Yeah, it's a game changer. It's basically like you have a swarm of army, like an army of AI agents that just go off and like tackle really complex stuff and break it down into like little multi-step projects. So it's going to be a game changer. And I know a lot of people in the AI Profit Boardroom were asking about this too. So let's get through it, and I'll show you exactly first of all how it works, and then I'll show you how to set it up. All right. So for example, if we go inside Visual Studio Code, and then we go to RooCode, which you can see on the left hand side over here. And by the way, if you don't know how to use Visual Studio Code, you just go to code.visualstudio.com, and then from there you're going to go over to extensions, select RooCode. All of this is free, right? But it's a super powerful coder. I know you've tested, for example, Vic, some like browser extensions, like it can go off and use your laptop and that sort of thing, right?
Absolutely. You can even book a flight for myself, to the Maldives or something. So sometimes I'm scared it puts me on a vacation that I'm not looking forward to, but it's pretty good. I'm kidding. It's
I
awesome.
see
It's
it.
awesome.
That you could end up in Zimbabwe or anywhere, right?
Absolutely.
All right, cool. So you can see an example here. So basically what we said inside this task is like create a sleek, conversion-focused landing page for Goldie Agency's AI automation dashboard. The design should be modern, fast loading, and highlight the benefits of AI-powered business automation, right? So it's a pretty complex sort of strategy right there. And essentially what you can see here is it's going to flick for you, right? You don't have to think about whether you want to use code or architect or ask or debug, which I think nobody can be bothered to switch between anyway. And it will give you a full task like this and be like, right, first we're going to do this, right? Then we're going to do that. And it just breaks it down really nicely into it. So it's pretty powerful. And then what it's going to do is it's going to create like separate subtasks, right? So you can see here how we gave it the prompt. And then 2 minutes later, it's like, right, I'm going to launch a landing page for you here. So it's pretty cool because it's creating a shorter context window and breaking down each of the tasks into subtasks. So I'll kind of show you an example of what you'd normally do. Like normally you're going to brute force a task and you all in the same context window. And sometimes you can use like thousands of tokens, right? And it gets quite expensive and that sort of thing. Whereas for example, with this, you give it a task as a prompt, then it's going to break it down into loads of little subtasks. And the agent carefully figures out, okay, we get a subtask for this one, that one, etc. And eventually, between all those, you get your output, right? So you just save tokens, and you take a really complex project and break it down into little tasks. And this is just with one single prompt, if that makes sense.
So you're basically saving a bunch of money as well, right? By saving those tokens.
Yeah, 100%. Or if you're on the free API key, so if you're using Gemini, which is free to program with and code with, but runs out of credits very quickly, this is like a more efficient way of using it, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So let me show you how to do this. Basically, what you do is like, okay, let's say, for example, we want to create a website, right? We can say, okay, create a website for my SEO agency inside here. And we're using Boomerang room modes here, right? So if we hit enter like so, and what I'm going to do is just make sure I've updated my API keys. I think I deleted one on the live stream the other day. So I'm just going to go over to, but this is really good for anyone to see, but I'm going to go to aistudio.com. You can get a free API key from Google using the latest knowledge and that sort of thing. Copy that over, plug it over to Visual Studio Code, plug it in the settings over here, hit save, hit done, boom. All right. And then it's going to attempt that in like 14 seconds. So I'm just going to redo that. We'll hit resume task. And there we go. Boom. All right. So it starts using that we're just going to hit allow over here, and then we can start using that process. All right, so I'm going to so it really didn't actually break that down into like look on the settings over here, and then we'll say create a big website for my agency with all my etc. Hopefully that should start using the boomerang mode. I'll show you how to set up the boomerang mode in a minute. Vic, if you see any comments on the live stream, etc., do you want to just read them out as we go, so we make sure we answer everyone's questions?
Absolutely, Julian. I'm paying close attention to it, so don't worry.
Beautiful. All right. So here's an example, right? So we gave it the prompt. Let me X off this. So we gave it the prompt like create a big website for my SEO agency with all my services, etc. And you see here how it's like, okay, creating this is a significant project. So let's break this down. And it switches into Ask mode. And then what it's going to do is it's going to use that boomerang feature to turn everything into like little subtasks. So you see, it's like, right, it's kind of like a consultative approach where it's like, right, how should we define the requirements for your SEO agency? Do you want to gather some information, a list of pages? Do you want to start with basic structure and ask details later, or just cancel the task? So go on.
We do have a question from Rod, Julian, which isn't really tied into RooCode, but the man asked, when do you sleep? And I think that's a genuine question that I'm also interested in, you know?
I actually slept at 8 p.m. last night, and I woke up at 6 a.m. I was exhausted. But usually I sleep like 8 hours a day. So I sleep super early. I don't drink or smoke or do anything else, which just allows me to like sleep super early and get stuff done, you know?
So basically you are a machine, right?
That's it. I'm a machine. I want it to be modest. I want it to be humble. But so yeah, no, that's it. Prioritize sleep, people. You got to stay healthy, you know?
So I agree. Sorry.
And AI should allow you more time to sleep. We should do a sleep course inside the AI Profit Boardroom.
We should. That would be good.
All right, cool. So we're going to kick it off now. And I'm going to say, all right, so we can, for example, provide like a list of pages and services, or we can start with a basic structure. So just to keep things simple, I'm going to start with the basic structure and then add the details later, because this, you know, it's for a YouTube video. So you see how it's switching now into code mode, and it's created a new task. Just created a new task out of nowhere, you know? So that's a new task. Like you see our prompt has disappeared completely. So if we go back to this, like it's already created like one task right there. And we already gave it a prompt. So we've got two different tasks going on. So if we go back to Visual Studio Code over here, and then we open up a new window, just so you can see what this looks like. We'll go back to RooCode. What it would do is create everything inside one long prompt. But here it's like task 1, task 2, etc. And we use less tokens doing that, which is pretty nice. So if we go back here, and by the way, we're doing all this for free. So we're building out like full websites for free, which is pretty nice. And you can also combine this with MCP agents, which we've got a full tutorial inside the AI Profit Boardroom. That's essentially how this goes.
It's awesome that you mentioned MPC agents. We actually do have a question from Amazon Andy. He said, well, it's like a 3-part, so I'm just going to read them all out for you. The first thing is, how does this compare against Manus, Julian?
Yeah, so, I mean, for me, the only... Okay, so, I mean, number one, this is free, right? Whereas, for example, with Manus, you're paying $200 a month, right? Number two, it's becoming more like Manus, because with Manus, what it would do is like create loads of little subtasks inside one chat. And that's essentially what this is doing, right? Whereas previously, what you would do with client is like have one really long chat, which didn't really make sense. So let me log into Manus. I'll show you what I mean. We're just going to log in here and sign in. If I can, I might not be able to get in here. Let me try and sign in. We'll try and sign in with that one. They might kick me out.
Imagine. No way.
It could happen. It could happen. It could be possible. Yeah, it seems like I can't log in, but we'll come back to that later. So if we go back to Visual Studio Code, essentially, yeah, so you don't need to pay for this because you're using the free Visual Studio Code. The extension is free, RooCode is free, and also Gemini is free too, right? So that's a big difference. And then I would say the main benefit of Manus is like it can deploy full-blown apps, a subdomain, if that makes sense. So like, you can say to Manus, okay, create a website for my SEO agency, and then deploy it, right? And it will deploy it on a manus.space subdomain, which means that, you know, you get that response back. Whereas RooCode, you can't do that. You can't deploy to a subspace, a subdomain. Yeah. And then additionally, a lot of the other thing is as well, like inside RooCode, you can actually set up a debugging version of Chrome, and then Chrome can be used with RooCode. So you can get Claude 3.7 Sonnet to start using your browser, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, it does, yeah.
Yeah, whereas, for example, with Manus, it's like a separate terminal. It's kind of like a completely separate environment, which means that it's very hard for you to log into things, because you have to give Manus all your login details or take control, etc. You know?
Yeah, a lot of
Yeah.
credentials.
Yeah, that's it. So, and the other thing as well, like you need a Manus invite, right? To be able to use Manus, you need an invite.
Absolutely.
Like it's exclusive, so not everyone has access. Whereas you can download RooCode today, and then in your settings here, if you go down to the browser use section here, you can get it to take control of your laptop. So you can set up a local IP, run Chrome debugging, and if you're listening to this, you never used that before, like it's going to sound super technical. So just check out the tutorial inside the AI Profit Boardroom. But essentially, that's how you do it. You know.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So you can see here now what it's doing is like what should we work on next? And so you can say, okay, improve the overall visual design, or add more details, refine the content, add a new page, etc. It just breaks everything down step by step for you and creates like a really customized workflow. The other thing is as well, like previously, I'll try and find an example, but previously what would happen inside Klein is like it would get stuck in a loop because it was running off a big lot of context, whereas this is creating separate tasks. So, for example, it's creating a let me view some previous ones where it's broken before. I think it'd be hard for me to find, but essentially what happens quite often inside RooCode is like it can get stuck in a loop because it's focusing on the same context. Whereas with this, like it just goes off and does its magic in separate subtasks, so it's less likely to break and less likely to go into an error loop. So it's a pretty cool update. And then also what you can do is like set up MCPs inside here, and then you can have your AI, for example, do one subtask where it searches Perplexity, or one subtask where it searches Netlify and stuff like that, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. And then the other things, I mean, the other things that you can do inside RooCode as well is like you can actually set up Claude as the API to start using your browser or previewing the website inside the RooCode as well. So there's a lot of stuff going on here. You can see it's hit the limit. So if you ever hit the limit inside Google Gemini, what you can do is you can switch between models here. So you could say, okay, just use Flash instead now, because we've hit the limit on Google Gemini, and you can see it continues now. Or the other thing you can do is you can go to your settings and switch between Open Router, and Open Router will give you more credits there as well. So if you hit the credit limit, you can do that. So I'll show you how to set up Boomerang, okay?
Yeah. Before we
Yeah.
jump to Boomerang, real quick, I saw a couple of questions actually because you did mention MCPs and people are, all about the buzz. Do you have like a favorite MCP use case, or which MCP you think is the most, like, let's say the best one, or even top three if you have? We even just had a donation asking for specifically favorite MCP. So
Oh,
what were your
legend.
thoughts
Well,
beyond
thanks
that?
very much for the donation. Absolute legend. Thank you. Yeah, so I mean, my favorite personally, Perplexity is really, really good. Simply because with Perplexity, you've got Google Gemini, you got Claude, but they don't even know what's going on today, right? And the data is outdated, right? The biggest limitation of any AI, especially if, for example, you want to create content around what's happened today, or you want to create a new website around what's happened recently, information gets outdated really quickly. So just linking this to Perplexity allows the AI agent to not just build a website, but also to Google, what's happening in real time, what's happening today. It can go off and do deep research reports as well, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Let me show you some of my favorite. We'll go into client here and we'll open this up. So I'm just gonna close Visual Studio Code and then we'll reopen this up, right? So if we go inside client here, I'll show you some of my favorite MCPs. So the client is probably the easiest and best way to set up MCPs, but you can see all the stuff that you can set up here. So I would say Perplexity is my favorite. Just type in Perplexity and you can install that pretty easily right there. What I also really like is Brave Search, again for the same reason that I do a lot of SEO. We do a lot of SEO
Yep.
for our agency as well, so this is great for just doing SEO. And you can even create like a content outline tool or a content creation tool that searches the web, uses Brave Search's API, which is free, and then uses that to like reverse engineer what's ranking, what content people have used, and then how can we get a better piece of content based on that.
Absolutely.
And the other thing as well, like, between Brave Search and also between Perplexity, like if you go directly into Claude and you're not in the US, then you can't use the web search feature, right? And so Claude is very, very limited. If you're like, okay, write some about Windsurf 6, for example, right? Windsurf 6 just came out. It doesn't even know what Windsurf 6 is. right? It thinks that it's about water sports, right?
That's a good
Whereas,
one,
for
yeah.
example, if you can connect it to Perplexity, and we go into Perplexity and we say, okay, write about Windsurf 6, because Perplexity is connected to the internet, it can actually understand, okay, Windsurf 6 is about AI, here's the latest AI updates, and this is what it's about. So you just get much more accurate data that's less likely to be hallucinated, and you make your AI agents way more powerful inside RooCode or Client. Yeah. I think Shopify, if you're running the e-commerce store, Shopify is by far the most MCP you can set up, because you can integrate your products with whatever you build inside Client. And the final one that I would say is, so we've talked about Perplexity, Brave Search, Shopify is really good for e-commerce owners. And then I would say Airtable as well. Airtable data and that sort of thing, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, so it depends what you want, but it's super easy to install and set up and that sort of thing. And then you can connect the power of RooCode and its Boomerang tasks with MCPs.
Awesome.
Awesome. All right, cool. Yeah, so if you want to set this up, super simple. So what you're going to do is you are going to go, let me show you here. We're going to go back to the guide, all right? And essentially you can download this JSON file and insert that into RooCode. So I set it up this morning. It was super simple and easy. That way. Just trying to find exactly where it is. So yeah, inside the use, just click on RooCode here. Then you're going to click on the bottom left, hit edit, and then inside here, you can insert the custom roles, right? So you see how we've got Boomerang selected. You put the role definition, you grab that from the Boomerang guide here. So you copy this, and then you go back into RooCode, plug that in, and then inside the model, inside the mode specific custom instructions, you're then going to grab this. So the custom instructions from here, plug that in, and then paste that in like so. Then hit done, and you can switch between Boomerang and all the other features here, right? If you just have Boomerang set up by default, then it will switch between Code Architect, Ask, and Debug by its own, right? So you can figure out everything by its own.
There is a question, Julian. What do you think would be the best use case for, let's say, Boomerang? Like, do you have any off of the top of your dome that you think, oh, this is a game changer specifically for this?
Yeah, I think anything where it's really complex and you've got a lot of subtasks, right? So if you're, for example, like trying to create a big website, then it's a game changer for that. Anything that requires a lot of research to build as well, super useful. But basically, if it's super linear, like if it's just build me a SEO calculator tool and it's just like from point A to point B, you don't need this. But if, for example, you're building out a big website with lots of pages, categories, if, for example, you're building out a very complex app where you need to break it down into little subcategories, this is what you want to use.
Makes complete sense.
Yeah. Let me show you an example, right? So, you can use something like Data Button. Data Button is a super powerful tool for doing stuff like this because it will flick between like architect and all those sort of things. So let's load this up and I'll show you what I mean. Like if you were building a job board, for example, then you could check that out. Let me sign out here. Yeah, so just super complex projects. I'm just trying to make sure I log into the right account on Data Button. One sec. It looks like all my apps have gone. But essentially, yeah, if you're building anything big, then this is perfect, right? So it's just orchestrating like really complex tasks and workflows, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do have a Val donating again, asking, have you tried prompt by DDevs? I think he means like a MCP agent prompt.
No, I've not tried that, but I would like to check it out. Maybe we can do that on another live stream. That would be
sounds
cool.
good. That sounds good.
One tip I will give people today is like, if there's one tool you check out today, this one impressed me massively, was Lindy. Lindy was really cool. Essentially on Lindy, you know, like we've set up Zapier tasks together, right?
Yep.
And it's like super complex and you have to plug in all your APIs and all that sort of stuff. But basically inside here, all the APIs are plugged in already. And all you need to do is just connect your email address. And then you can automate, for example, like super complex workflows like this. You just hit click on, add your Google Drive sheets and stuff like that. And it's pretty cool. Like, for example, this morning I built this tool and you'll see the video on my main YouTube channel. This tool right here, it basically automates like customer service. It was super simple and easy. You can add custom knowledge. So I added our website to the custom knowledge base here. So you can add websites or text or files, whatever. and then you've created an automated chatbot customized to your website in like a few clicks. Super simple and easy. Yeah. So like this morning with Lindy, in just a few clicks, we automated. Let me show you inside the AI Profit Boardroom, and we got the templates inside there. So we automated email drafts and on the website, like without any coding. And like NA10 can be really confusing to use. This is like this is a much simpler way of using that.
Awesome tool.
Awesome, yeah. Yeah, so check that out. I've got a video on the main channel if you want to check that out and learn about it. But yeah, any other questions before we go?
I think that's about it. A lot of people drop some like interesting, their favorite, MCPs such as Desktop Commander, Fetch, Web Search, etc. But yeah, overall,
Nice.
just yeah, very good and awesome tool when it comes to RooCode and its Boomerang feature.
Nice. Yeah, so I mean, like, just to recap here, in case people are not 100% clear on like why would you use this? Well, number one, it makes like complex tasks basically put into little subtasks, like you do on Trello or Asana and that sort of thing. So the AI figures out exactly from your main prompt what needs to be delegated and which tasks need to be broken down. And then also it will automatically figure out the right mode for that. So whether you need to use, for example, like architect or code or ask or debug, depending on what the task is. The final thing is like it keeps the AI super focused on like that one subtask instead of doing loads of different ones, and it makes the results like way faster and smoother. Awesome. All right, cool. So if you want all the templates and all the workflows that we use at our agency, Vic, I mean, how many have we set up over the last 30 days? It's insane, right?
I'm not gonna lie to you. I think we have over like hundreds of lessons by now, and it's growing exponentially day by day. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. And if you want to ask questions, jump on the weekly Q&As. Vic, you did one yesterday and absolutely smashed it, right? Like I saw all the feedback, people saying like how good it was and everything.
Yeah, we had over 20 people join us yesterday. It was an amazing, vibrant Q&A. We even had to go 1 minute overtime, which usually, in Q&As, it doesn't happen, but it was so good. A lot of great questions. People were interested in the most basic of N8N setups, and I showed them like from the most basic of N8N setup, how you can connect it, what you do with the nodes. It was pretty awesome. So if you get in there every Wednesday, we have a Q&A. Feel free to join, and I would love to welcome you.
Awesome. And then if you get stuck in between the Q&As, just post in the community. You can see here, for example, Vic, you're always posting new updates. It's insane how many updates you post. And then like, I mean, this, for example, Dinesh just posted like 2 days ago. You can see all the answers and the help they got. Like, it's just a community full of great people helping each other out. And I respect that massively.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Yeah, so feel free to sign up. I think after this video, the price is going up, right? So if you want to sign up right now before the prices go up, because literally we'll give everyone like 30 minutes and then we'll put the price up again. But yeah, it's just a community focused on making money and saving time with AI. And then additionally, if you want to get a free one-to-one SEO strategy session that shows you how we get thousands of visitors to our clients' websites, and if you want to customers, or maybe you're tired of spending money on ads, maybe you want to exponentially, then feel free to book that in. It's completely free. Link in the comments description to get a free SEO strategy session. Anything else you want to say before you go, Vic?
No, look forward to meeting all of you in the AI Profit Boardroom. This was awesome, Julian. I learned a lot about, Boomerang and RooCode. Can't wait to test it myself. But yeah, perfect execution
Awesome.
here.
All right. Appreciate it, man. Cheers.
Cheers.